we are back. Hello, welcome to another episode of Eat This, Drink That. We have Ali Khan getting ready to cook us something on the decks, ones and twos. And we got Steve, our drink expert, to watch. And I'm Ryan Crosby. And we have no idea what Ali is making today. So let's just get right into it. Ali, what is your Eat That for today?
Okay, so basically, for the sake of the internet, we're calling this how to make Sisig Tacos, right? Because everyone likes tacos. But really, we're going to make Sisig. I'm just going to eat a tortilla. So your question's going to be, what is Sisig? Well, let me tell you what it starts with.
Yes.
For me, it starts with this. Pork belly. There's a strip, about an inch and a half thick. I went ahead and seasoned the heck out of it with kosher salt and black pepper. I'm tossing it into this grill pan here. And what I'm going to do, it's on kind of a low heat. It's been hot for a while though. I am going to cook this off for it takes about 10 minutes. But eventually you get it into something like this. Something golden, right? So this is still a little tough. Beautiful. It's we're going to chop it up a bit and we're going to make sisig. So what is sisig? So I'll ask you guys, have you guys ever had that? Have you ever heard of it?
No, never even heard of it myself.
Well, let me tell you first.
How do you spell it?
Why I'm making this. We did an episode, I want to say we were doing one of our rum drinks, and we had brought up, I don't know if it was a scorpion, but it was, it was definitely like a Tiki influenced rum drink, right? And when we were talking about these rum drinks, we talked about what flavors would go with it. We talked about Tiki culture and this kind of, quote, made up Polynesian cuisine, right?
Yeah.
Part Chinese.
Maybe the Planter's Punch or the Zombie, one of those. We pulled
Zombie,
up the old,
Zombie, like
we pulled up the
Don
the Beachcomber menu and looked at the melange of foods they had. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like coconut breaded shrimp. Like, basically it's like how would Don Draper eat Chinese food in 1968? That. It would be, I like it. I understand what shrimp is. So it got me thinking about part of it was climate and that part of the world a little bit. And it made me think about this dish called sisig. So it's a Filipino dish.
Sisig, right?
Sisig, right.
Okay.
And it's got an interesting history that, fascinatingly enough, works well with booze. So initially, way back when, like in the 1700s, sisig was more of like a papaya salad. And again, this is just internet research here. I'm sure people are going to be like, you're not Filipino, you know what you're talking about. But way back when, it was like more of a papaya salad with a lot of chilies and vinegar. It was a hangover cure. Now, sometime in the 1970s, a really famous restaurant in the Philippines started to make this dish with bits of pork, like the jowl, the snout, pork belly in this instance. And the idea is not too far off from carnitas. You have all these like kind of chewy cuts, and then how do you like cook them so that they're delicious and then embrace that rich, unctuous fattiness? Well, we're going to embrace it with a mix of soy sauce. Oh, you need to see this. Soy sauce, lime juice, some chopped onion, garlic. I'm moving fast.
Okay, yeah.
And we need spice, gentlemen. Some chopped up habanero. Okay?
Sweet.
Now,
oh, nice.
Let me tell you how I came across this dish. And while I'm talking, I'm just going to... By the way, when you're doing this, I first did this on a high-temp grill, and it was easy to get the brown color right away. Another way to work with really fatty cuts of meat is to kind of like cook constantly, kind of turn them and cook them. And what happens is the fat renders, and this will eventually fry. So that's just a little tip for pork belly, right? That's why people will slow cook this in an oven, because the fat will release, and then it'll basically fry in itself, right?
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Now, question. Did you have this dish before doing the episode on zombies and Planter Punch and made you think this would be perfect?
We talked about adobo. We talked about those vinegar flavors, but also I was just thinking about like something rich that would work well with a powerful drink. You know what I mean? Now the thing is, sisig is it's morphed into this drinking snack, right? There's a word, I think it's called pulamon. Again, hopefully the comment section one day will rip me a new one, and we'll have a lot of comments going. But basically, it's like tapas at a bar. This is bar food, okay? Like you literally eat this stuff while you're snacking on it while you're having drinks, okay? Right. And when it's all said and done, this is going to be this kind of chopped up mixture of pork belly, spicy chilies, onion, garlic, soy sauce, lime juice. I add a little brown sugar to kind of counter that heat because there is a lot of heat in there too. And you're just like munching on this intense, fatty, crispy, rich, spicy, salty, sour, garlicky, powerful flavors, right? That both kind of fuel you for the buzz and also I think can kind of handle powerful flavored drinks. You know what I mean? This is Superman meets versus Batman, and Batman's got a little kryptonite. You know, this is strong. This is a strong dish. It's a drinker's dish. Now, I came across it interestingly enough. A guy, an aspiring chef in the Bay Area who's Filipino, hit me up and was like, "I'd love to make this dish with you and shoot it as some video content." I never made it before. I fell in love with this. What happened was when I made the sauce, when we get through this, I literally tasted the sauce and I basically turned it into my own version of a chimichurri. But I will tell you, the elements here, soy sauce, lime juice, amazing, plus heat, plus garlic, plus onion, over pork is fantastic. And much how when Steve's always talking about drinks, a lot of these drinks are powerful and they're cutting and they need something to stand up to it. Pork is, I think, a favorite of Steve's, favorite of mine, a favorite of alcohol. This is if pork enjoys booze, pork enjoys sisig sauce. I'm just gonna say it. So you see it, it's like rendering down. It just takes a little time. I don't know, guys. I think that can kind of keep cooking, but I might just start getting into this, okay? Can you see if I move this? Yeah, you'll be able to see this. If I work right here.
Yep.
Got a good eye there? Okay, great. So this is rendering out. Eventually it'll turn into this. What I'm going to do, and it's going to be difficult because I have to make sure I don't try any of this stuff. What's very tempting with this kind of dish is you want to snack on it, don't do it. What's kind of nice too is it's already pretty tender, but we're gonna twice cook this, right? So what I'm doing, I'm just cutting this up, chopping it up, just going across. This is like a ½ inch thick, which I think is just about perfect for this. It's super tender, and the smell in here, dude. My kid's like, "What's that smell?" And it smells like the carniceria because it's just rendered pork fat in the air. So full disclosure.
Yes. Who doesn't love rendered pork fat?
It looks like bacon though too, right? I mean, is that the same cut as where bacon's from? Let me just ask a dumb question here.
No, you know what? Those are the best, and you're totally right. So basically, pork belly is essentially bacon. It's just not cured, you know. So it's not been hit with all the stuff that turns it, whether it's smoke or nitrates and saltpeter and all that stuff that basically cure bacon. So this is raw bacon.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And like again, just kind of flipping this, turning this around. All right. So I got my pork belly, right? All chopped up.
And if you're pretty adventurous, you could see if a carniceria or a butcher might have cheeks and snout and jowls and all the other stuff,
I mean,
right?
there's no doubt you could. I mean, this is just, you know, like this is just the start of course, one of our many rabbit holes, right? Yeah, I mean, I think pork belly. What's kind of great about it is it's easy to find. You know, I think when you want to get into the jowls and stuff, you'd almost want to consider like, how am I roasting this whole head? Now, like I'm frying it or using a grill pan. Like traditionally, from what I've read online, people will straight up they'll boil it they'll boil like pig's head and stuff. So it's tender. Chop it up and then fry it up. So basically, we're twice cooking this. So what I just did right now is I got all that pork belly in there, and you would have seen. Actually, I'm going to keep this right here. You would have seen this in the earlier step. I also seasoned that pork belly quite liberally with salt and pepper. I'm going to get some lime juice in here real quick. This is a stiff lime. You ever get those limes and you're like, you're not cooperating?
Oh,
it's not going to happen.
yeah.
Not with my hand. Not this one. So I'm just adding some lime juice in here. I have 2 limes to about a pound of cooked pork belly, including what's in the pan. I'm going to do half of the lime juice now, and then half of the soy sauce, which is coming up next. This is
a fun little trick for difficult limes is roll the lime on a board to just break everything up.
We did that last week after I made carnitas. Really was like, my wife's like, rolling it. I should have done that. I'll do it for the next one. So I just added 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. There's a couple cloves of garlic. Shaking that all out there. We're going to add a bunch of chopped onion. This is rough chopped onion. Now the habanero. I left the seeds in.
Okay.
I left the seeds in. You could take the seeds out. I'm not using all of that. That's a lot. I got 3 habaneros. It's always hard when it's in the store because you're like, oh, I just need 3, and it's impossible to buy. I swear to God, if you're the guy who buys 1 habanero like me, the price checker comes out. They're like, what's going on? This doesn't weigh. You slow the whole process down. It's annoying. So I went ahead and just got 3 pretty large habaneros. Turned out to be more than I thought. So I'm just kind of adding about, that's probably 3 tablespoons of habanero with the seed in. Okay? So I got all that stuff in here. I also have some finishing stuff here to add. And what I'm going to do next is mix all this up. It's so handy to have this drawer right here. And I'm just mixing this all up right here.
Okay.
Now, when I first made this, there's a whole other step. We're going to put this in a pan and cook it down, right? When I first made this, it was so freaking delicious on its own. I was like, can we stop? I just want to eat this right now. But this does become a great drinking snack because when you cook this all down, and I'm starting with a cold pan intentionally, when you cook this all down, it's just like super richness. Like, it's like when you kind of like admire the crispness of a steak, or when you're releasing fond and you're making a stew, you're just getting flavor. You're not getting necessarily full. This is a snack, not a meal. Now, you can turn this into a meal. In fact, the traditional way is to put it over some rice.
Right. I was going to say rice seems like.
And a fried egg. That's rad. That's totally great. I am just going to throw it on a tortilla with some of Heath's guacamole, which is basically a very tame, super simple guacamole. I think that the avocado will do a great job of adding some. What's funny? It's just fat on fat on fat when I think about this dish. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is so Greer. This is so Greer. We're talking booze. I'm thinking a duck who ate a duck wrapped in butter.
Right.
From France. I mean, you're not the Carnival Eats guy, but you're definitely like, there's going to be a nap involved after whatever.
Ali, what was what's the thought with starting with the cold pan first as opposed to preheating it?
The idea is that the pork's already crisped up, right?
Oh, okay.
So this doesn't need like that hard exterior heat, harsh heat to crisp it up. What you want to do is slowly render out most of the fat. Now, I will tell you, this process of cooking pork belly.
There we go.
And that's pretty. See, it's getting there. This
Yeah.
works really nicely. I've done this outside on a grill, which is great. Actually, speaking of, get that thing going. I'm getting some heat going here, and I'm just stirring this around. I mean, all you're really looking to do here is get that onion caramelized, let those sugars start to caramelize in the pan from the lime juice. And I mean, like, it's
Yep.
just going to be, I mean, this is almost it. Like, if you were in the Philippines, when this is done, they would just straight be like, here you go, jump in there, have some.
I was just about to ask that. Is everything we're going to eat in that
Pretty
pan right
much.
now?
I mean, like I said, for the interwebs, we want to make it into a taco because isn't that fun and clever and now. But yeah, this is it.
I do like the
What's that?
fusion. That's it. I like the fusion idea of converting this to a
I
taco. I
mean,
love it.
the other thing too is it saves me the step of having to make rice, But I am tempted
Yeah.
to throw an egg in there too. I mean, it's 1 p.m. here. I had oatmeal. I could go for an egg right about now.
I like the idea of putting this over fried rice too.
Honestly, the egg and the white rice, fantastic way to go. So the other thing that's rad about this dish is that it's very intuitive. You know what I mean? Kind of like your drink recipes too. Like, this is something that has a lot of history, it's very celebrated, people have strong opinions on. But unlike like making a sauce, deglazing a pan, there's a lot of room here to wiggle. You know what I'm saying? For example, when I fell in love with just these overall flavors and I made a sauce version of this, I also added brown sugar. Okay, and I'm going to keep that brown sugar in here too, because again, see this soy sauce and lime starts to caramelize real quick, and I just want to like keep stirring and really just get those onions wherever you want them to be, and then there's going to be more sauce to add in here too, but I'll probably put it into a bowl and spoon it out. And then what's rad too is, that pork gets crispy. Then it gets to like pick up the sauce a bit too. I have to tell you, like, I made this once, this traditional way, kind of like this, and then I immediately was like, I'm gonna make a sisig chimichurri, and I just fell in love with all these flavors and stuff. This thing is just like, I think this is a recipe that it's like guacamole. Once you make it, you're like, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to like practice it, perfect it. It's like putting product in your hair. You just kind of like do it, roll it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a drink. I mean, it's a shame that I don't have the rum.
The rum?
Yeah, that would have been. So, you know what, Steve? I want to put this to you while I'm just kind of buying time, letting this stuff kind of caramelize, let these onions kind of like soften a bit too. I'm a little vague on the drink. So now that you're seeing this, we talked about Filipino food. What drink of all those rum drinks, what do you think is the one you would want here?
I would go Planters. The Plantation Punch, Planters Punch. Anything with the pineapple in this would be perfect.
He's freaking right. Pineapple drink. Get the pineapple.
Yeah, that's a pineapple drink right there, or a dish. You could even take, since we like to go to a juice store to have pineapple freshly squeezed when we're making cocktails instead of canned. You could also have them chop it up and throw a little pineapple in that dish, right?
Dude,
right at
honestly,
the end.
when I put this in a corn tortilla with some guac on the bottom, it would be almost like this is like a food truck phenomenon in the making.
Pineapple salsa on top of this with one of the rum drinks with pineapple juice.
Nice. Yeah, I mean this ties into like Al Pastor too, and or even just the internet's favorite debate is should we put pineapple and ham on pizza, right? I mean, pineapple and pork
And we should.
go together in many different ways.
I think the problem with pineapple and ham on pizza is it's usually a bad pizza place that's making it. But let me tell you this.
And bad ham too.
And which is kind of wretched. I mean, if there's two ways to kill anything, you kill a club sandwich with bad ham and bad turkey. Like, it makes me want to become a vegetarian. Bad deli meat should be that we need to do something about that.
Yeah.
So, man, this is really rad because, again, this is on low heat. We started with the cold pan, and those onions are softening. And then what's kind of nice, too, is it goes from crisp and kind of crunchy to a little softer but chewy. You know what I mean? So imagine you're just like, you're eating little pork fatty nuggets that are coated in soy sauce, lime juice. I mean, just that combo of citrus, sour, salty. And I mean, unapologetically salty. Plus spicy. I mean,
with the habaneros.
I need to try this in a second. So those onions are just starting to brown. And this actually gave me a great time. Yeah, see, that's money right there, right? So when I did chop this up, I did let it cool, but we're trying to motor right now. So let's just get it.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with my first thought, the Planter's Punch.
That's the way to go
for this.
Did your Planter's Punch, Steve, did it have pineapple juice in it, or did we leave it out of that one?
Well, that's what I'm trying to go back because I played around with recipes.
Because I feel like you might have not had so much pineapple in it, or maybe you did on that one.
Yeah, you know what? I'll be right back. I have my recipes right here.
Planter's Punch. By the way, which you can check out our episode on YouTube or streaming. We have a Planter's Punch. We have a whole series of 4 tiki drinks that Steve made. And we're releasing right now, we're releasing 4 tropical ones, which by the time you see this video, the tropical ones will be online. So we have probably 7 to 8 island / rum flavored inspired drinks for you guys on Eat This, Drink That.
All right. I'm going to follow Steve's advice.
You know what I just thought of?
So I want to see
that caipirinha that we did with the cachaça from Brazil that's really grassy rum. That would also be really cool with this.
This actually would be a great way to reheat old carnitas. If you hadn't made a big batch of carnitas, because they reheat well in a pan, I would literally take it cold out of the fridge and toss it with everything, or really just get it in the cold pan and then, actually, I think he ate a bit. Dude, that's spicy. Oh, we're going to have hell to play with. We're going to have hell to play with. So,
did Maximus just sneeze?
Sneeze, and he ate some. I'm just going to bring this pan to you guys.
Okay.
Because what's great is...
Here we go, Steve. Check it out, Steve.
See, you see the onion has just, it's soft. It's not totally like sauteed, but the edges are starting to brown. I did a rough chop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to grab a little spoon here. Still staying in the shop. Just to kind of see how this is. I mean, can you imagine right now if I just threw a fried egg in there? Just a little half. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Although I feel like you mentioned tacos, and so I'm imagining some guac and corn tortilla as well.
This thing is freaking, it's fiery. This is the thing. This is the beauty of it. It's kind of like not too different from when you're having like freaking hot wings, buffalo wings, right? You take a bite of something, it's fatty, saucy. It's not a meal. It's just something to keep you going. I swear to God, the next thing I want to do is hit a beer right now. The next thing I want to do is hit a freaking beer right now, like with that burn. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're
Yep.
totally going to put this in a taco. I think what I want to do for the very end, because it is kind of caramelized and it's quite hot, I'm going to grab a bowl. We're going to get everything in there. We're going to finish it with some finished onion, maybe a little more soy, definitely a little bit more lime. What's really rad about this is, I mean, this is delicious as is, right?
Okay.
When I first mixed it all together, I was like, can we stop now? This already tastes good. You can, I mean, you know, again, I hope one day we have, you know, certainly the comment thread where people are like, because I read them on different sites, like, this isn't Sisig or whatever. There's so many ways to do it. I mean, because it's delicious in multiple states. I am going to grab the bowl.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, and you know, your egg thought and the fact that we're doing tacos made me think this would be a great breakfast burrito
Oh,
too. Throw in
interesting.
the egg, throw in some rice.
This man's diabolical.
Get
This
this
man's
whole thing.
diabolical. I am going to
Yes.
grab a bowl. Maximus, just zoom in on Maximus. Look at him. He's living his
Cute
best
dog.
Yeah.
life.
Hey, by the way, good memory. I took the Planter's Punch. I took the pineapple out of the
Okay.
Planter's Punch. We made that with club soda. It was Singapore Sling is the one that we should do with this. That was with the pineapple. That was also
That's with
with
Jim.
gin
Okay.
and Benedictine and rum. That thing is powerful.
You know what?
The powerful drink.
What was the Singapore? What's the drink that's powerful?
Singapore Sling.
Singapore
Dude,
Sling. That's
seriously,
the one for
like
this.
when I look at, I didn't even use all that habanero, but honestly, with all this habanero, with the pork belly, with soy sauce, I mean, this is probably one of the most powerful flavors without it being like durian, without it being something like, without it being nauseating. This is as powerful a flavor, as powerful as food flavors get.
Okay.
And I would certainly say, bring on the liquor. Bring on the drink with punch. Damn, you know, see, this is, again, what's great about the cold pan is it took time to get these super dark brown colors in there. And that soy sauce and the sugar from the lime juice all contributes to all that great browning. So it's kind of crazy because it's delicious right now. But if there's one thing I learned from making this, I'm going to finish this with a little more minced onion. You know? And again, like, this is all winging it a little bit. I'm going to add more lime juice because I can. Probably, I'm just, the way it's tasting, because I don't want to, like, totally jack it, I'm just going to do half a lime. Right here.
Oh,
I rolled it. It's still tough.
Yeah, just for some brightness.
Yeah, add some brightness. Yeah.
There's a ton of fat here. I'm going to do a little more soy.
Yes.
Interesting.
So that was probably 3 tablespoons tops, and we're just mixing this up. I meant to buy some scallions just for color to toss in there. That would be really nice too. So again, you know, you just have this nice sauce.
That looks amazing.
This sounds crazy. The heat came down. I'm going to add a little bit more of that raw habanero, but I'm also going to add a little bit of brown sugar. Just a little bit. Just to kind of balance it out a little.
Interesting.
This is not, I'm not going to give this to Heath, okay? You know, this is going to be too spicy, too hot, too whatever. But I think having some of the raw onion in there too, and even the raw habanero, and then again, like, look, guys, just sauce. You know, it's just soaking. We're adding more sauce. This stuff is, I mean, you know, we're moving on. I'm going to heat up a tortilla. Now, the other thing too, when I thought about this, okay, let's make a Sisig taco. It's not just, oh, let's just eat it with the tortilla, right? And again, traditionally, you just scoop it out of the pan. We just be nosh.
Eating,
Like Steve's nuts. Right. You know, his beer nuts. Not those, you sickos. You know, you're just noshing off of it, right? Or like you can make it a meal with rice and a fried egg, which is a no-brainer. I kind of want to fry an egg in there right now. But there are rules to making it a taco. It's just a little corn tortilla I have. So
Tell me about your tortilla maker. Where do you pick those up? Those look
I mean,
really
these
good.
are just straight up from the carniceria.
Okay.
Look, they're no different than what you get at the supermarket. Xanthan gum keeps them soft.
Okay.
I just ate a dinner the other night, last night, with people that make hardcore tortillas. I don't know, man. It's like, to me, sometimes tortillas, it's like dry pasta versus fresh pasta. Fresh pasta is great. Tell me you have not had a good pasta with dry pasta, too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, I respect them both. This is just too convenient. All right, so I got a nice tortilla toasted in there. We're going to make a heat taco. Uh-oh, little soy sauce accident. This happens. We're going to make a heat taco. What's a heat taco? Heat, my son, does not love super spicy stuff. We don't put salsa on his taco. But he always wants guac on his taco. So it's not totally dry, right? Now, the guac we make for him is super simple, and it's also the guac we like, too. It's just avocado, salt, onion, lime, tahini. Like, there's no tomato up in there. There's no chop this, chop that. It's super simple.
Did you say tahini?
I got that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. He said tahini.
Oh,
He's
tahini. Sorry,
in his
tahini.
guac.
Gotcha.
Tahini,
I thought you said
tahini.
tahini. Gotcha.
Now, that to me is a really nice way to kind of embrace it. You got the guac on the bottom, sisig on top. Check for spice.
That's a one bite taco. Look at that.
Dude.
That was.
It's phenomenally good.
Wow. That looks great.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's amazing. You need a Singapore sling in your left hand with an umbrella and a giant straw, and a taco in your right hand.
Juice coming off my hands. You know, the only thing I'll say is this: both times, but especially right now, because I haven't made sisig in a while, or especially this way, this is so good. Like, everyone should make this, and a lot of it too. Honestly, guys, soy sauce, lime juice, amazing.
Yeah, that was really simple. That was super simple.
Hey, let me ask you guys. I'm assuming I know the answer, but Ali, have you ever, or Steve, have you ever had one of these in like any of the Filipino sections of Los Angeles when you were out there? I mean, I wonder if that exists.
I remember having sisig. So there about 5-6 years ago, I want to say, and this is part of the food media hype machine, because this is all we do, right? We were like, Filipino food's having a moment. Because all of a sudden there was like a Filipino restaurant opened up by someone young, which makes them hip, and they were offering Filipino food not for the Filipino community, but for basically hipsters, white people, whatever you want to call it, right? And I totally had a sisig kind of taco. It was like the Filipinos' answer to carnitas, right? And also there's a real connection between lecho, which is the Filipino whole roast, kind of like fried pig. It's amazing. And then like carnitas and stuff too. There's a big pork connection. And I remember having something like sisig. And full disclosure, I've had Filipino food once before in a very traditional restaurant that was more for the Filipino community. It was a bit of a buffet line. And I didn't really get it. Like, there was a lot of super strong flavors I just wasn't really used to. I don't know. But when I had the sisig, it was sisig tater tots. That's what I had.
Oh, interesting.
So imagine freaking carnitas. Like, this is kind of carnitas-esque, isn't it? You're talking about fatty cuts of pork, cooked down, semi-fried, but also tender too. I had that shit on tater tots.
Yeah.
It was fucking good. Okay. I mean, tell me you shouldn't be hungover when you have it.
So I'm sure I've had something like this. My neighbors in Larchmont were Filipino. I've been over to a bunch of their parties, where, aunts and uncles and everybody comes over and all the homemade dishes are on the table and you just eat. And I don't remember the names of any of the dishes. I'm sure I had some version of this. I loved all the food. Yeah. So I'm assuming I have. I just didn't know it was
and the other thing too is very interesting is like there's Tagalog, which is, their language, right?
Language, right?
Filipino
Yeah.
language. But there's more languages and dialects. Obviously, Spain had a huge influence in the Philippines. I remember when there is not Manila, but there's another town, and I'm gonna butcher it. Kampalong. That's like the Tagalog. I do have a Tagalog accent. Kampalong, Kampalong. It has kind of like this kind of like chorusy, like singy kind of thing. Kampalong.
Yeah.
Anyways, it is the food capital of the Philippines, from what I understand. And I think this type of eating, this kind of tapas, which is called bulaman, is an actual indigenous, like it's not even like Tagalog. It's like a whole other dialect, from what I understand. And hopefully people will please chime in, comment, tell me that I don't know anything, but I know this. I know this. Soy sauce, lime juice, habanero.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, you should be march to the supermarket and buy these things are cheap, and I guarantee you, like amongst the right set. And by the way, it was kind of a low hanging fruit, kind of lame to be like, oh, let me just turn it into a taco. It's freaking amazing in a taco, like with the guac, with the simple limey tahini guac, all day.
Very cool.
Well, now I want a breakfast burrito with the same thing, with rice, with the egg. It gets silky. Throw in the sisig.
You could
it up,
do that,
burrito.
but you would be. This stuff is so. This is good in small doses. I would really recommend you try it just like this off the pan.
Okay.
Good
but
point.
then kind of. And I will tell you the version I have of this. If you want to do this and maybe not fry up pork belly, but just enjoy the flavors, take all the things that I did: lime juice, soy sauce, habanero, onion, garlic, and some brown sugar, and sesame oil. Whisk that all together and make that as your, I mean, you can use it as a dipping sauce, but honestly, I would just pour it over a really thick cut pork rib chop with the belly on. There's a butcher shop here where I've done. I've got they call them Slayer chops, but it's got like the pork belly cap on the pork rib chop. It's freaking awesome.
Nice.
You get that nice chunk of fat, but then you get like actual, a chop or whatever in there, and you just dunk it in there. And I think the sesame oil makes it a little bit more. It kind of gives it that chimichurri kind of vinaigrette balance. It helps kind of stabilize the mix. Fantastic. I stand behind this. I can sling these and make money.
I just looked up, I was going to look up Sisig Tacos in Los Angeles, and what came up higher up on the search was Sisig Burrito. So, Steve, you might be onto something.
No way.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
So, Steve, but it didn't say breakfast.
I'm still going to try this.
It didn't say breakfast burrito, but there's a list on Yelp, top 10 best Sisig burritos in LA. And it looks like there is a truck that has them in Los Angeles. So yeah, interesting. Very cool.
Makes sense. I mean, there was the Korean tacos, the kimchi tacos, craze like 6-7 years ago.
Kobe truck, yeah. Or Kogi, sorry, Kogi.
Yeah. Kobe, that's right. I never did find it.
It was in Eagle Rock all the time. Ali, how are we looking for today? Are we getting towards the end of your amazing taco?
I went from, I think we really found our stride with really coming up with drink recipes and then food recipes. Now I'm like, this is it. It's all led to this. Sisig is awesome.
Yep.
One of the best things you could ever make if you breathe God's air. I mean, this is just a freaking. I stand behind this freaking dish. I stand behind this like I stand behind putting chimichurri on steak for the first time. What have you been waiting for?
Yes.
Get it. Go get it. So.
Well, that was amazing, Ali. Thank you.
Ali. Fantastic work. I loved the when we checked out the Don the Beachcomber menus that it inspired this. That's really cool.
And it makes so much sense. Like I almost want to feel like we should follow up and make the drink with it, even as a social post, because it's honestly, very easy to make. Very easy to make. Not hard. not hard to make. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ali, for that. And yeah, any final thoughts, Ali? I think you've said it all. Probably.
Just make sisig, guys. I mean, I would just, the one thing I'd say is when you make this, don't be afraid of the heat. Just build it as you go. And remember that when you make this, there's two mixing parts. One is when you first mix it and put it into the pan, and the second is the finisher. So you can kind of take it in steps. Like, you don't have to certainly don't add all the soy sauce and lime juice right away. You want to save some of that for the end finish. Definitely do that with the heat. But
that's a good point.
Try it with the habaneros. Also, you can try it with Thai chilies as well, which would be more traditional. I just started using habaneros and I love it.
Cool. Thank you, Ali. All right, amazing. We're going to wrap up this episode of Eat This, Drink That. This is season 3. We're getting, this is probably our 42nd or 43rd episode. So moving right along. Thank you, Ali, for doing an amazing food presentation for us with your Eat That.
You got to make it. You got to try it. Now it's on you.